You're watching the Eternal Tournament Series.
And we are back for round number 5 here, the Eternal Tournament Series, Week 2, Season 2 Open. I am Sir Rhino, and here to help bringing all the action today is Ilyon. How you doing, Ilyon?
I'm doing pretty good. This looks like a pretty interesting match. We haven't seen Skycrag aggro yet, so it looks like we're getting our first chance to see the Yetis come down.
Yeah, Farodsbro, to the surprise of literally no one, brings Skycrag aggro, his tried and true list here, really unchanged from what we saw last week or in the Invitational or the season before that or what have you. It tops out with those 4 mortars. Everything else is 3 or less, 2 of Grenin and Drone. It's a tried and true formula that he enjoys playing and has taken to a lot of success. So if it ain't broke, why try to fix it? On the other end, we've got sifudanny playing Huru mid-range list that's leaning a little more aggressively than what we'll see some Huru decks play, as it's featuring 4 Crown Watch Paladins to go alongside 4 Kothon. So trying to get the beatdown party started quicker than you're used to from Huru.
Yeah, and it's got a really, really sweet little 2 of in here that we should probably mention. Double mirror image.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's just spicy.
Yeah, I love mirror image.
The spice.
Yeah, mirror image can do a lot of powerful things in sort of a Dark Return-esque manner. But it does require some setup too. Your unit has to be live. They can't be holding up fast speed removal, or you can get hurt pretty hard. But when you have some war cries from like Crown Watch Paladin in your deck or Nostrix buffing something up, you can really build on the value of mirror image. Or you can just copy an unbuffed Valkyrie Enforcer, Unseen Commander, or Sheltering Rider and be pretty happy with where you're at. So it's a card that I've played a decent amount of, especially in like Scream decks. I really like it. But in Huru, it's a nice card as well once you start augmenting other units and building things up. It works really well in Mentor style decks too, but that's neither here nor there as this game gets underway.
Yeah, another key thing with the mirror image is that Shelterwing Rider interaction as well. Whereas if the Aegis have popped on it already, you can actually use the mirror image to get another Aegis Shelterwing Rider, so that it'll actually be a 5/5 again.
Or if you're a huge fan of Ultimate Winmore, it does retain the count of how big the Valkyries are that you get off of an Amelie.
It'll
duplicate that. So Crown Watch Paladin not at its best in this matchup, so sifudanny just resigns to let it trade off with this opposing 2/1 Aegis in the Snow Crushed Yeti.
Which is a smart play, I think. You just gotta try and live for long enough with this Huru list. Like, your end game's gonna be enough better that you don't mind if you throw away a little bit of value and just save your life total.
Yeah, but now Farodsbro with the perfect curve out, 1 drop plus torch into building up the board with a very nice weapon in Shogun Scepter.
Yeah, this is a kind of an ideal start for the Skycrag list. It's just going off. We're seeing a ton of damage come through here right away. And the Cinder Yeti though does get stopped by this Kothon, so at least there's that for Sifu here, because that would have been particularly bad if it was just something without endurance, because man, that was a lot of damage on the board.
Yeah, and a cruel twist of fate, the Scepter had been put on a 1-strength unit, so that Vanquish that sifudanny had drawn last turn didn't even have a target, but now has one with the Ornate Katana on the Oni Ronin, and Permafrost cleanly answers Pyro Knight as well. So Farodsbro's got to find some more pressure to close out this game, or a Millie plus Mirror Image is going to cause real problems for him.
Yeah, just the power, and Amelie comes down. If Amelie hits play in the next turn or two, we can definitely see it just taking this game the distance, I'm sure. I've got to imagine you trade here, right? No, deciding not to.
Yeah, I think trading with Cinder Yeti there would be tempting, as it could get a weapon to augment it or something. But by not doing that, you open up this line of play where you whiff on power again. Now you get to actually turn Mirror Image into a card.
Yeah, it does open up that option. I was a little bit skeptical about that, but it did help a lot that, you have the mirror image online at least. Ugh, that just is such a feel bad. Need Amelie so bad, and you know that you have the game if you land it there and you immediately draw the depleted power. It is going to come out next turn, and I mean, there is going to be this permafrost though, so it's
I don't love
trouble for Sifu.
I don't love the no attack, no block from this Crown Watch Paladin last turn.
No.
Like I get holding it back to respect the chances they put a weapon on it, I guess is the idea. But now sifudanny's down to 4 facing down.
And Mortar just takes the game. Yep.
Yeah. So not trading off that Crown Watch Paladin sooner ends up really coming back to haunt him here and goes down to Farodsbro in this first game. One of Huru's big weaknesses is, or at least for a long time, was that it had no natural life gain built in. Unseen Commando helps with that a little bit, right? It's better than nothing, but it's still not a whole lot of natural life gain built into this deck compared to maybe some of the shadow decks out there with Vara's Favor or other mid-range decks that you're used to. So we'll see if they can fix that post board. Oddly enough, sifudanny has Hailstorm in the side, which is kind of weird with this build.
It is a little strange. It kills a lot of your own units, like the vast majority of them. That was such a close game. It was one of those ones where it's just decided by power. But I mean, I guess that is what Skycrag aggro is built to do, is just take advantage of stumbles and build up a board, and suddenly you're just dead. Like any slight stumble from the early game, and Huru's going to go down here. So I'm not sure what I would want to side in for Sifu here. Obviously things like Polymorph are not exactly amazing. Hailstorm looks pretty decent, but if you're watching the game, like, you've got to realize that there are things like Snowcrest Jetty that are coming down that are actually still a problem for the deck. Vaudius is still going to be an issue. Like, it doesn't answer things as cleanly as it might look. It's not bad. Like, I mean, it's still fine, but
is it still better than Crown Watch Paladin? I think that's the question here, because that card's not exactly good in this matchup, right?
Yeah, it probably is. I think that I'd want to put in Hailstorm for sure, but I'm just saying that it's not like... Yeah. You look at Hailstorm and you think like, oh, well, like Hailstorm beats aggro decks. Like, you can just slam all the Hailstorms and it'll be great. And it's like, well, I mean, it's good, but it's not necessarily just suddenly this ace card against this deck, because, I mean, you put a Shogun Scepter onto a Snowcrest Yeti and you're just in a lot of trouble, and Hailstorm doesn't answer that.
Yeah, so I think the surprising thing is that the Hailstorm's not just Lightning Storm. Like why do you have it in your sideboard, right? I think that's something to think about. It's like, all right, you really bring it in because you're struggling with other decks that play lots of X3s, like Rakano or something? Or are you bringing it in to be an answer to go wide decks? Well, then why not just be Lightning Storm? And I'd be interested to hear sifudanny's thoughts on that, because it is awkward that it kills your own Unseen Commando, your own Kothon, your own Valkyrie Enforcer. I mean, to be fair, the rest of the cards, assuming you're taking out Crown Watch Paladin in those matchups, dodge it. So it's not the end of the world, and it is a very powerful card to have access to. So I don't blame them for having it, but it is a little bit of a conflict of interest going on here.
Yeah, absolutely. It just gives a little bit of disjointedness to this.
On the other end, do you think Farodsbro is looking to change anything up here in terms of bringing?
That's a good question. I don't think so. Would you bring in Crystallize? I don't think.
Now you're
like,
Crystallize is,
it does give you some late game reach, but
like Polymorph is meh here too. It's like, okay,
that you're not dealing with harsh rules. You might have to deal with a Hailstorm. I don't know that you bring in Backlash just for that.
No, I feel like all of your units are good. Your removal's good. Like Permafrost and Torch are good removal spells in this matchup. I wouldn't be shocked if Farodsbro straight up changed 0 things, except maybe something to help pop Aegis's on Shelterwing Riders or something, possibly. But
like Eileen's Intervention, maybe then? Eileen's Intervention could actually do a decent job. It does kill Unseen Commandos, Valkyrie Enforcers, pops Aegis on Shelterwing Rider.
It also counters Island's Choice if you're, want to put a weapon on a unit.
And
that could
mirror image.
That could be it. But meanwhile, sifudanny here does not have a great looking hand for this matchup. A whole lot of Nostrixes waiting in the wings.
Well played. But I can appreciate that. But yeah, no, this looks like a great hand for Farods and a tough one for Sifu right now.
The thing is, though,
Vadius.
this Huru pacifier is going to do work even under this permafrost, locking up the Shogun Scepter. Farodsbro also plays 4 ornate katanas. Those will all be locked out from seeing play. But in the meantime,
Vadius just smashing in, though.
2 Vadius smashing, and they're going to curve out into an activation here.
But the activation, can the activation be used, though?
Oh, no.
That's the thing, is it actually can't do anything. So Vadius is kind of blanked.
Yeah,
not entirely, but more than normal.
Yeah, this polymorph might actually have to hit Huru pacifier at some point just to unlock the Vadius activations. Although probably hitting Nostrix is a bit better here.
Well, I would probably
just to push damage. Right? Oh yeah, you have perma.
You permafrost the Nostrix, get in for 6, and then maybe think about polymorphing afterwards. I imagine that's or even just polymorphing now on the 3/4 pacifier, like just to get it out of the way and set up for the ultimate next turn.
Yeah,
that might be the decision that they're making.
Yeah, or you just decide to try and get there off of Vadiuses without their ultimates and use polymorph to keep clearing the way for this next threat that's going to come down. And that's what we see here as a Millie shows up, which has 8 health, which would have blocked a Vadius even if it had a Chakram.
So a good choice to not use that polymorph. I think that it was, knowing our perfect information makes it a very obvious thing that you don't want to use it, but it's a tougher decision, I think, when you're actually the person in the game here.
So sifudanny now, it looks to be almost guaranteed going to fall into the dreaded, torch / burn spell range, but has a face Aegis right now.
Yes.
So that'll help him at least be a little bit like there's not a whole lot of reach here that Farodsbro can draw and play. It's basically charging Champion of Fury, right? Because weapons are locked out and you have a face Aegis for burn spells. So sifudanny actually in an okay spot in terms of being scared of, say, a mortar.
Yeah, I was gonna say that mortar is careful. Oh no! Tried to go for the activation, not realizing. So that might have been the decision, is just not knowing even that it was going to happen.
Farodsbro clearly did not know as he just swung in with both Vadiuses activated. We saw a little fun howl effect from the Huru pacifier there. And oh man, this card is strong. I think people have I don't think they underrated it. Everybody knew how insane this card was when it first got spoiled. It just didn't find a list or hit the popularity that was expected. And people now don't really appreciate what it can do when it's on board, as we see here.
Is Farods thinking about killing it? Like they keep highlighting it. I don't think that's the play. I think that as rough as it is, you probably just hope to hit a torch to pop the Aegis and then mortar. Although this unseen commando is really important right now because that'll put them out of mortar range, and you can't really let that happen.
But they might.
So you kind of have to. This is a bad situation for Farods at this point. I think that we're seeing lock it up.
He could also mentor the unseen commando, but chooses to not do that. Instead, try and get the life gain now, try and get out of range of either Reach or Champion of Fury. And hey, it's still life gain. It eats that mortar, as you said.
Yeah, it kind of has to, but that puts Farods into a position where they're facing a board of 5/7 flyers and just absolutely no gas. Flooding out quite a bit here.
He's
but
dead to flyers.
Oh yeah. Like the pacifier just was an absolute house here, stopping Vadius's ultimates and the Shogun Scepter from coming into play. Just absolutely blanking Farod's draw.
Yeah, Huru pacifier gets another win. It's gonna start showing off what it's capable of here. Locked up a Shogun Scepter and a Vadius ultimate that game. No Champion of Fury showing up to help out Farodsbro, and that crucially it was that face Aegis from that Cobalt Waystone. Sifudanny plays 3 Cobalt Waystones, but again, Huru has a lot of weird influence issues, plays 10 Justice Sigils, so it was real fortunate to even have that Waystone active. A lot went right for Huru, but it kind of needs to for this matchup to come out in its favor.
Yeah, absolutely. That was just quite a game. That pacifier, we expected it. We talked about how pacifier is a really good card, and just again, we constantly talk about that 3-4 stat line and how important that is, and it being very good against things like Armory. But I mean, we're seeing that it's got some gas against other decks too, right? Like, I mean, Skycrag there just got totally blanked in a lot of ways by that Pacifier. You can imagine that game going very differently if it had been polymorphed instead of permafrosted. Like, its ability was incredibly important that game.
Yeah, I mean, the way Farodsbro builds the Skycrag deck, there are excuse.
So we have Sir Rhino dipping out there for just a minute. Knock, knock. But yeah, no, I mean, you can see that made a pretty big impact there.
Sorry about that. Uncle Eddie's here.
No. Knock, knock, knock.
Yeah, Uncle Eddie. Yeah, he's a fun guy. I should have given him a heads up. But anyways.
Well, he gave us the heads up with the knock, knock.
Yeah.
Knock, knock. Skycrag was unfortunately not able to end that match because of the pacifier effect, and it was just a tough one for them to, like you said, Farodsbro having so many weapons in this Skycrag list with the Shogun Scepters, the Ornate Katanas, and the Vadius. Like, it blanks a significant portion of the deck, which I think is kind of the point you're trying to make, is that, like, this deck runs a lot of weapons. It runs a ton of units, but, like, there's a ton of important weapons for the deck.
Well, this time Skycrag's doing that Skycrag thing. 1 drop into Champion of Fury with charge, backed up by Vadius and 2 removal spells. So good luck.
Yeah.
sifudanny kept in the mirror image, and that's going to just grow the value of Island's Intervention here. It can even counter that spell.
Yeah, Island's Intervention, when we were talking about that before, like, it really just hits kind of everything in this sifudanny list, so it looks pretty good. I've got to imagine Farods is having a little bit of a flashbacks here, seeing this Pacifier again, but we know, sitting here looking at perfect information, that Sifu's in a fair bit of trouble. Wow.
All right, so what the plan was use Island's Intervention as removal on the pacifier, as it could do 3 damage to it, but sifudanny opts to not allow that to happen, and now we'll probably just see Island's Intervention counter the mirror image here. Maybe not. It's a valuable card, but you can use it to straight up kill a Huru pacifier here, right? That's what you're doing. That's pretty good value.
Yeah, I can't think that it's going to get better value than that, so it makes sense to just get rid of it right now.
Yeah.
And I imagine we're seeing the permafrost here. This draw from Farodsbro is starting to peter out pretty quickly.
Yeah, why? For some reason, it's showing that a Cobalt Monument is still in sifudanny's hand. Isn't he on 5 power?
He is, yeah. That is very strange.
Something bugged out there. We're gonna we're resetting the hand cam and seeing what's up with that. Either way, though, even if they don't have a monument available, Kothon will be able to get activated here and make a 4/4 flyer instead of playing one out of hand, and that's what we see. So Farodsbro now, has flood prevention in the form of this Pyronate and this Vadius activation, but again, Guru Pacifier is under a permafrost, so Vadius activation, not quite what you want it to be here. And okay, yeah, there was just a problem with the hand can. There was no monument. So that Kothon draw was actually huge there for sifudanny.
Yeah, it looks like, man, Sifu might just pull this out again.
7/8 flying endurance. Good luck.
And once more, like, Vadius is locked out by this pacifier, and this, like you said, 7/8 flying endurance, Nostrix sitting back. Now we have a commando coming down, and that's the life gain is super terrifying.
I think Sifu wanted to swing with an owl or something else there to get a little more damage. And I guess his A space is lethal here regardless of what else he swung with. So just holding back the most possible is fine. And I don't think Farodsbro's not getting out of it with a Pyronite draw. I was thinking, maybe Polymorph could have shrunk Kothon and you could scrounge something together. But even then, you're still facing a Nostrix. I mean, this is just huge flying units and pacified.
Knock, knock. Owls are at the door, and that's the game. Man, I was really surprised that draw just didn't work out for Farodsbro. A little bit of too much power, I think. It was a big issue there. Like, if you can imagine it, a couple more torches or a mortar or something in some of those games would have made a big difference. But I mean, that's what Skycrag does.
It was too much power. but he also had things to do with power every turn. He had Pyro Knight ultimates.
Yes.
He theoretically had a Vadius ultimate, except he didn't.
Yeah, and I feel like Skycrag aggro is one of those decks too that it does live and die by its draws a bit, and also hoping that other people stumble a little bit on theirs, where it can have the most insane curve outs kind of in the game, but at the same time, it can also just, you know, if it draws a couple extra power, it peters out fast. Like those games turn a corner very quickly.
Yeah. I think in those 3 games we saw like 1 Champion Fury total, and that's almost certainly Skycrag's like busted reason for existing. So that certainly didn't help Farodsbro's cause out either that in that match. But still, impressive showing from this Huru deck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huru Pacifier, Nostrix, Amili, Sheltering Rider, just very big units that also happen to fly, and that's easy to underrate, but certainly showed off how strong you can be there.
Well, and we felt like that was the underdog, so that was a good game for him to have managed to take off him. Pretty awesome. But we've got another one lined up here. We're lining it up real quick. We're having childroland versus missing who's on the other side. It was Rock.
Yeah,
yes,
TheRocke, I believe.
TheRocke himself. All right,
yeah,
let's go.
Dwayne is in the house.
Knock, knock. Dwayne's cooking something.
Oh God,
I'm sorry. I'm gonna be doing this for a while. Good old crazy Uncle Eddie.
Nobody wakes up and says, "I'm going to make an iconic moment occur." You know, they just happen.
There's things that come in.
Serendipity and all that. So childroland's on Darkheart, and TheRocke is playing, looks like Scream Queen or whatever you want to call it. So let's hop on in here and see how it goes down. We're going to have childroland on main cam. TheRocke is hand cam. And of course, I spectate the wrong person. All right, but we'll be giving these players the go-ahead shortly to get this match back underway as we see TheRocke. Man, got a pair of Highwaymen, has the Madness Combust combo. They're ready to throw down against mid-range.
We'll get disrupted by that sabotage, though, thankfully, from childroland here. But, man, rock in hand for sure.
I acknowledge it. All right, so yeah, sabotage doing work. TheRocke finds an annihilate, which don't think you're going to use to push through against this Reliquary Raider right now when you know potentially bigger threats are lurking in childroland's hand. But we'll see what TheRocke does here. Quarry?
See what he's cooking. I can't imagine that it's the annihilate, though.
Like, childroland was nice enough to play some Temple Scribes against you and actually make your Vicious Highwayman useful going forward. So you got to be grateful for that use. It's weird because TheRocke probably doesn't want to like necessarily dig for power with Quarry. Maybe try and use that for more valuable things. Oh, just swings in with Fanatic, trying to go for an annihilate blowout on a double block.
I mean, is that a blowout though? I think you'd just be willing to trade, right? Like, just try and get it into your void, be able to Haunting Scream it back. No, opting to go for the annihilate here.
It does keep your Fanatic alive, and you have a Combust to back it up. So, like, if Roland plays some sort of mid-range threat here, you just combust that, and now they have to sort of, block your Fanatic. So I think that was the idea of setting that up.
I guess, but I question letting a draw come through here on the Reliquary Raider, and also just, blowing an annihilate when you know that your opponent's going to be playing things like World Bear Behemoth and Heart of the Vault is a really risky proposition at best.
Yeah, I think it's a spot where they're overvaluing the Fanatic connecting and undervaluing how good this annihilate could be. In terms of saving it as a way to keep pushing through Highwaymen and other things like that. But childroland respecting the Fanatic and holding up Banish rather than playing down a Behemoth or a Sandstorm Titan here.
Which I kind of respect. I do like Sandstorm Titan blanking a lot of the Haunting Scream shenanigans, because that's a lot of your problem there is going to be Scream. And I've got to imagine Banish comes down now.
And now as the dust settles, this Reliquary Raider is kind of free to keep generating value unless TheRocke
Yeah.
wants to use Combust on it, which would be a huge victory for childroland either way.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. You almost have to, though. You can't let it just keep drawing cards here. It's really running away with this game fast. I'm really questioning that. That Annihilate, unfortunately, is just coming back to, I think, already punish them. Yeah, we're going to see the Combust because they just can't let that card draw engine keep going. And at this point, I would think that Sandstorm Titan comes down just to blank any Haunting Screams that could possibly be coming up here.
Yeah, with the draw Temple Scribe, that kind of seals it.
Yeah.
Now you get to use your power super efficiently. And there we see Sandstorm Titan's down. These Vicious Highwaymen are now totally blanked. They can kill a Temple Scribe and gain quick draw, but they're not swinging into this Sandstorm Titan.
Not for any value, that's for sure.
Used Annihilate on a Temple Scribe. I mean, this is kind of what you ask for when you do that.
Yeah, and now, like, I mean, you have to give Nightfall here, but it feels awful because you know that you're going to be giving childroland a ton of gas, and you know that childroland's deck is just nothing but massive bombs. Oh, goodness. Vara's Choice is a pretty sweet draw here. Not as good as it can be, because obviously screaming out, getting rid of a scream target like Gorgon Fanatic is even better, but I mean, now you know that you're kind of free. They didn't kill your Sandstorm Titan. You know that they probably don't have an answer to it, and Scream's not going to get there. Like, it's just... TheRocke is finding himself in a hard place right now.
This is the point in the game where you would hope Madness could just be a burn spell against these time-based mid-range decks where you just use it to dome them for 5 or 6 health and finish off the game. But childroland's sitting at 25 health. Madness is not doing that anytime soon. And you drew another Annihilate, okay, but that's not going to deal with Heart of the Vault and everything else going on. So out comes the Highwayman that didn't show up last turn, and as you said, rock, hard place, etc. going on here.
Yeah, childroland just getting the metal chair of World Bearer Behemoth and Heart of the Vault here to smack TheRocke in the face. And I have a feeling that this game isn't going to last too many more turns because it's just hard for them to come out behind. The Sandstorm Titan blanking Haunting and Scream is something that really can't be overstated, because one of the ways to come back from these kinds of games for Scream decks is to, Scream your Gorgon Fanatic, draw a bunch of cards, gain some life, and you can stabilize really quickly off of that. You can't do that when Sandstorm Titan's in play. So you have to combine not just the Haunting Scream, but also some kind of removal spell.
All right.
And it's looking bad.
Yeah, Granite Waste on the draw does provide another chump blocker. However, due to the ability for us to see what childroland scouted and kept on top, it's a torch. So TheRocke here is in dire straits. Well, be able to play out a chump blocker, annihilate something, but you're still facing down some huge units. And if you don't chump block, you're dead because of the torch. Or I guess torch could even take out Highwayman, but I don't see why that would happen when you could just hope they don't block something and kill them. But TheRocke has to hope childroland disconnects or something like that from this spot.
Yeah, basically, yeah. This is one of those games where it maybe misclick. Like, I hope that they don't ace base. Go too fast, get too excited, and space before they A. That's about all that you can hope for.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to see the torch pop off the Highwayman because it's just lethal currently. Yep,
and then we'll either see a scoop in response or an annihilate in response. But TheRocke is technically not dead yet, so I don't think we'll see the scoop, as he can just chump block the 6/6, go to 1, and pray for a miracle here. If childroland didn't have the Sandstorm Titan, Madness plus Combust would have cleanly dealt with the board or something like that. But instead, he's sitting at 1 with just a Madness in hand, and that's gonna close.
And no Combust to go with it either. I mean, Madness Combust was probably, like you said, like kind of the Hail Mary hope for TheRocke there. But the minute the second Sandstorm Titan comes down, you know that you're just sealed.
Yep.
Bound for the Shadow Realm, as it were.
Yeah, so that will go to childroland 2-1. And I'm not sure what his current record is, but I can say for a fact it's better now than if he had lost.
Yeah. Childroland just kind of rolled over.
Okay, yeah, Roland moves to 4-1 there, so very much in good shape to make top 8. 4-2 with good tiebreakers is where you want to be. 5-1 is a guaranteed in, so we'll see where that goes. But big win for Child Roland there, and that means TheRocke is probably sitting at 3-2. We'll need some really nice tiebreakers to help him out, so we'll probably be hoping that Child Roland wins in the next round too.
Yeah, got to cheer on your opponent that just beat you right after something like that, because that's your only hope. And I think that we're probably good on matches for the most part for this round. We'll have to see if we can set something else up for everybody.
Yep, no more backups, but instead I do have something that's arguably more exciting than a backup match, if you can believe it, and that is the announcement of a new exciting event that the aReNGee Eternal team will be hosting in the very near future, and that is the Team Draft Tournament. So what
that sounds
this is
incredibly gas.
Yeah, it is something like that. It is the draft isn't cards. We're not doing a team event where you draft cards and build decks. Oh no, you're drafting players to make a team. So how this will work is players will sign up to be a part of the player pool for the event, and then they'll be drafted into teams of 5 by captains. And then the teams will then play in a Swiss event, and all the players on the team will play simultaneously, and the team that wins the most matches during that simultaneous 5-way match will win that round. So it'll be a kind of crazy thing that aReNGee cooked up here. So the registration deadline for this to be a player in the pool to get picked for a team is April 12th. You've got 5 more days. Check out aReNGeeeternal.com or the tournament info channel on Discord for more information about that. Hey, I'll try anything crazy like this at least once and see what happens. So I'm excited to see. It's an opportunity for those that have never had a team to find new people to play with. And for those that even have a team, maybe you get to show off to your other teammates, hey, I'm the best on this team, and kind of build some new rivalries from within. So I think it's an exciting format. How about you?
Oh yeah, no, that just seems super good. It's really weird and different, but like weird and different is great. I'm excited for that. It seems like a total blast. So I think we'll have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah,
yeah. There's some great players to pick from. So we'll see where everybody's being valued at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm interested to see who ends up signing up, and then once that gets published, there'll be a huge debate on like who should be first pick and stuff. I think it will be great. I'm all for turning anything into a topic of debate about value. So yeah, team draft tournament, sign up, have fun, get into the discussion. And with that, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the final round of Swiss after that break that I just mentioned.
Absolutely.